She sang Promise, the story of Betty Mae Jumper, Seminole tribal leader. Indiantown, Florida, circa April 1923. Spring breezes tickle cabbage palm spikes in a woman's birth camp of the proud Tiger family in the powerful Snake clan. Fresh air carries the song of a newborn girl. She sings Promise in her cry. The baby, born in the wild heart of Florida, daughter to Seminole medicine woman Ada Tiger, granddaughter to Seminole medicine woman Mary Tiger, is Betty Mae Tiger. Betty Mae's grandmother, Mary Tiger, sings to Betty Mae of brave ancestor deeds. The women sing stories about greed, stealth, health, and speed, of panther, rabbit, swamp mice, and snake, from the time when all the animals talked. Betty Mae is a little girl at play in the old Everglades when her grandmother selects a Seminole name to guide the girl. Mary Tiger sings the name, Pataki. The father of Betty Mae is a Frenchman who traps animals for pelts in the Everglades. From Betty Mae's first sing-song days, tribal elders force the father away. They say he has bad spirits. Holowagas. What's more, the Tiger family blends a new mission faith with tribal medicine ways. Now, one afternoon, a noisy black truck bumps into view. Elders have come for Betty Mae to throw her bad spirits into the swamp. There is shouting. Great Uncle Jimmy Gopher brandishes his rifle. He forces the men to roar off without Betty Mae. Betty Mae is 5 years old when she watches a truck leave with chickens, cats, her dog, bear blankets, grinding bowls, and fishing poles. The family is moving to safety. Dania Reservation is the name of the new place. It is near a town, Fort Lauderdale. In the wars against Betty Mae's Seminole ancestors, the fort was home to soldiers. Betty Mae's family walks. They meet a train. They ride it. Then they walk some more. Betty Mae is tired when she reaches Dania Reservation. Her dog, Jeep, is already there. Jeep nuzzles her. Welcome home. At Dania, the family keeps up many old ways. On shivering nights, sometimes by moonlight, Betty Mae eats oranges roasted by the camp's fire. Her lessons are from elders. In stories of the little turtle and the wolf, gray bear, the deer girl, and more, they sing respect for the birth giver's creations. Betty Mae takes each story into her heart. When visitors join the camp at night, they marvel at the firelit sight. Rabbit beds down with dog, who is cuddled into cat. Says Ada Tiger, a skillful hunter, my Betty Mae can raise and tame anything. Seminole men prepare a garden among trees in a traditional way. Ada Tiger and Mary Tiger plant guava, bananas, corn, and long Seminole pumpkins. Sugarcane stalks shoot up to the sky. Betty Mae is a garden helper. For candy, she snacks on the sugarcane. As she helps, the women tell about the corn lady, the witch owls, the little people, and how Little Dog came to be. Stories from a time when all the animals talked. Betty Mae helps find cedar, straggler fig, rattlebox plant, frostweed, and Carolina willow. These are important for tribal medicine. She even learns to help medicine women bring new life at birthing time. A growing Betty Mae hears mission words from an Oklahoma Seminole spoken about the one who can lead the wolf to lie with the lamb. Betty Mae won't skin a rabbit for the cook fire stew. She never holds a rifle to learn to shoot. She plants her hips on her hands and says, every living thing has a purpose, and that's not to make it dead. On a mission trip to Oklahoma, Betty Mae's 13-year-old eyes grow wide. She watches a girl laugh just from looking at drawings with letters on paper. What is that? Betty Mae demands. It talks to you, her new friend says. Betty Mae stares at the paper with pictures, a comic book. She looks at it this way and that. The paper with pictures doesn't talk to Betty Mae. Is this a trick? The girl tells Betty Mae, I'm reading. Betty Mae asks, what's reading? The girl says, it's something you do in school. Back at home, Betty Mae tells her grandmother, I want to go to school. I want to go to school. Betty Mae sings as she stirs the corn softki. I want to go to school. Betty Mae pleads with elders when she picks pumpkins. I want to go to school. Betty Mae prays to the breath giver before she falls asleep. I want to go to school. Cherokee, North Carolina, circa 1937. Betty Mae is 14. She wears her first store-bought dress. She wiggles toes trapped inside leather. her first shoes. The Cherokee Indian boarding school is where Betty May lives and learns. People of a faith called Quaker, the Society of Friends, are some of the teachers. She likes to learn, but she misses her people. In the snow-chilled mountain air, Betty May takes her warmth from memories. She tells stories about swamp custard apple trees, alligator mamas floating babies on their backs, orchids, cabbage palms, her tamed tall crane, and her dog Jeep, who always tugged her home from the dangers of the woods. In her first school year, Betty May advances to fourth grade. In the next year, she skips ahead 2 more grades. To finish her education, she moves on to Kiowa Teaching Hospital in Lawton, Oklahoma. She tells of people back home without inside bathrooms, without clean water. She trains in nursing for 2 years, refusing to get sick at the sight of surgery, working night and day. Betty May stands straight under a starched white cap. Now she can pick a job from anywhere in the Indian nation. She remembers her mother Ada Tiger's work as a medicine woman. Despite joys, she saw babies dying from fevers, measles, and worms. She remembers that her baby sister died of whooping cough at the tender age of 3. Betty May returns home to work with the people she loves on the land she loves. Nurse Betty May drives a dark sedan as part of a visiting clinic crew. Now she walks into a camp deep in the Everglades. A gun comes into view. The man with the gun says, "Stop, we've got Indian medicine, we don't need you." The nurses drive a little bit away. Soon a grandmother with babies, a mother with children, aunts with nephews slip out to meet them. Women walk back to camp with new medicine tucked among long folds of patchwork skirts. They trust Nurse Betty May. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 1946. Beautiful Betty May Tiger marries Moses Jumper of the Panther Clan, a handsome Navy warrior who volunteered on the USS Lexington, a ship set on fire in World War II. The nursing job pays little. Betty May also sells crafts at the Jungle Queen boat landing where tourists visit. Her husband works there too. He is the star alligator wrestler for Captain Al Starts. On days when her husband is sick, Betty May climbs into that alligator pit. The tourist job can't be lost. Betty May is everywhere for her tribe. In the middle of a field, school children hear her engine. "Here is Mrs. Jumper." She makes them clean up and takes them back to school. She finds truant children wherever they hide, in buildings or in the woods. She tells them the story of how she begged to learn to read, how she pleaded with the elders, "I want to go to school." It is a time of change for Betty May's people. A big highway divides the land. A language surrounds them that most adult Seminoles and many children can't read or write: English. Many people live under cabbage palm roofs without clean water or electricity. The U.S. government asked the Seminoles to organize a tribal government, one that will work with the leaders of Washington, D.C. Betty May travels throughout the Everglades, where families live, interpreting in 2 Seminole languages, Creek and Miccosukee. Working with the people to represent their choice, she helped set up a tribal council in 1957. She helped start Seminole Indian News in 1961, written by Miccosukee and Seminole people. She is an interpreter in courtrooms and emergency rooms. She is a voice for her people. Hollywood, Florida, May 9, 1967. Betty May asks her people to elect her as their leader. For 10 years, tribal chairman of the Seminole government she helped create have been all men. There is talk about her break with some traditional beliefs. There is talk about her mission faith. One night in May of 1967, when the votes tally up, there are 116 votes for her opponent. But Betty May receives 170. A woman has won. The Seminole tribe has elected one of the first female tribal leaders in modern times. Betty May gives interviews to city newspapers. She is making good news for her people. The baby who tribal leaders wanted to throw away in the swamp is now the leader of her people. Leader Betty May still sings her stories and remembers the old ways. Storytelling, sewing, and songs are part of the first Seminole Fair. She sits by soft piles of tribal patchwork, fabric rainbows of the Everglades. In the festival circle, she tells stories sung to her when she swayed in the sleep hammock on firelit nights. She tells of the corn lady, the twins, the witch owls, the little people, the dear girl, little frog, how little dog came to be, stories of greed, stealth, health, and speed, of panther, rabbit, swamp mice, and snake, from the time when all the animals talked. Those who listen to her imagine the gigantic glades near the end of land. Are these stories just tales to pass the time? Not so, says Betty May Tiger Jumper. These are the stories that showed us how to live. Afterward, the oak remembered distinctly those men and women of the past, from the Council Oak, a poem by Moses Jumper Jr. Estonko, hello to the children. I have many good stories about my mother, Betty May Tiger Jumper, one of the strongest people I have ever known. One involves a bicycle. I was 4 days too young to begin school with all my reservation friends in 1957. So with the help of a scholarship, my mother started me in a private school 13 miles away from our home. One morning our truck broke down. I thought there would be no school for me that day, but my mother found a bicycle, held it steady, and told me to climb up on the handlebars. So picture us, my mother in her traditional Seminole patchwork long skirt, pedaling a bicycle along the road with me balanced in front. We didn't get very far before we accepted a ride from a friend who saw us near the highway traffic. This shows you how determined my mother was about anything important to her in her world. And education for children was always very, very important to her. I am pleased you have decided to read this special story about the amazing life of Betty May Tiger Jumper and our proud people. Know that lessons I learned from mother and grandmother have helped me through life. I hope you learn important lessons that will help you always. Shonabish, thank you. Moses Jumper Jr.